Welcome to WICB Radio on the Chicago Beat. I am Mike Mercado, and it is a cloudy May 26, 2012 in the city of Chicago, but it's still not changing one thing.
It's time!
UFC 146 where Junior Dos Santos will defend his heavyweight championship against former two-time heavyweight champion Frank Mir. And in the undercard, with a lot of title implications, you have the former heavyweight champion in Cain Velasquez versus Antonio Bigfoot Silva. Now, to me, this is what fighting comes down to. You put the big behemoths inside the octagon and you let them swing and throw blows to the end of the day. Now, in the first match between Antonio Bigfoot Silva and Cain Velasquez, this has a lot of title implications on there. You look at Cain Velasquez, who pound for pound might be one of the best wrestlers, not only in the heavyweight division, but in all of UFC. His only downfall and only loss coming to Junior Dos Santos showed put punches together and keep a stand-up, you'll be able to beat Cain Velasquez. But for as big of a monster as Bigfoot is, he really isn't known for his knockout power. He's a big man who has very good jiu-jitsu on the ground, which is interesting too, because when Cain Velasquez struggles in a fight or gets hit hard, you'll see him take it to the ground. I feel Cain Velasquez is going to come out on fire today. After losing his heavyweight belt and his training partner Daniel Cormier winning the Strikeforce Heavyweight Championship and now putting himself in a heavyweight spot, Cain Velasquez has to come out and put a dominant performance for the UFC. And in the main event, Frank Mir, hands down the best ground heavyweight to ever enter the octagon versus quite possibly one of the best strikers to ever walk into the octagon in the heavyweight division in Junior Dos Santos. Now, Frank Mir has to be one of the most underrated fighters in the history of mixed martial arts. The guy can do it all. He can make you tap, he can stand up with you, he knows the sport inside and out, and this could be the night he takes advantage. Now, originally, Junior Dos Santos was supposed to meet up with Alistair Overeem, who eventually got suspended for having a high amount of testosterone in his body. Now, this is actually an interesting point because Junior Dos Santos probably had an easier matchup with Alistair Overeem than he does with Frank Mir, because nobody's ever tested JDS on the ground and do that the first time in the UFC against probably the best heavyweight to go on the ground in Frank Mir. If the match goes down to the ground, that's the real question, because Junior Dos Santos likes to set the pace, and it's all going to be on how Frank Mir defends the quick hits of JDS. Dos Santos has the quickest jab, the quickest hand movement, and the quickest leg movement in the heavyweight division. This is how he got to become the heavyweight champion and beating Cain Velasquez. The WICB official picks on the Chicago Beat for UFC 146 on Saturday, May 26, 2012 in the fight between Cain Velasquez and Antonio Bigfoot Silva. I have it going all 3 rounds with a Cain Velasquez unanimous decision and putting himself in title contention, which possibly means a match between 2 teammates in Daniel Cormier and Cain Velasquez. And in the main event between Junior Dos Santos, the heavyweight champion of the UFC, and Frank Mir, I have Junior Dos Santos in the 3rd round knockout. You can follow the show at mmercado2333.com or comment us on Facebook at Facebook/MikeMercado2333. For everybody here at WICB and the Chicago Beat, please enjoy the rest of your Memorial Day weekend, and of course, enjoy the fights on UFC 146 on pay-per-view. We'll see you next week here on the Chicago Beat.